We've been talking about the Graham-Cassidy Bill and healthcare, how we are moving forward. Joining us on the phone, I would say the man of the hour, but it sort of seems like the man of the week, maybe the man of our next few weeks, Senator Bill Cassidy, of course, our senator right here in Louisiana. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you.
So let's just jump right into it. A few minutes ago, we had a statement yesterday that came out from Blue Cross Blue Shields Association. There have been several others that raised concerns about pre-existing conditions. I've seen what the president has tweeted. I've seen what you have said. I've seen what Senator Graham has said about pre-existing conditions. But where is this information coming from if it's outright wrong or not included that pre-existing conditions would not be covered?
Where do you think it comes from? From the folks who don't want us to replace Obamacare. From the people who have an interest in the status quo. We specifically say, first, we say if a governor wishes to have a waiver, to do things differently than the way it's always been done, the governor brings a proposal to approval. But it will not be approved unless there's adequate and affordable coverage, adequate and affordable for those with pre-existing conditions. The president tweeted last night that he would not sign a bill unless it protected those with pre-existing conditions. I'm a doctor who worked in the public hospital system of Louisiana for 25 years helping those with pre-existing conditions. People in my family have pre-existing conditions. We are not going to abandon, but if you love Obamacare and you wish to keep it, then that's what you're going to pound on because it appeals to people's fear.
So what's Jimmy Kimmel's problem then? If Jimmy is Jimmy right, or is the Graham-Cassidy bill right?
I sure wish that Jimmy had called me.
Yeah.
He read something that had been given to him by a liberal think tank.
Okay.
And the guy's passionate. I get it. His son's affected. But if he had called me and we had gone through our first interview, he would have seen that everything I said was spot on. There's a tension. How do we cover people and how do we pay for it? You can cover people if you don't mind how much you're paying and just tax the dickens out of the American people. That's not sustainable. On the other hand, I think this bill strikes a balance where it covers those who need help. It protects those with pre-existing conditions, but it also protects the taxpayer so that she's not spending her entire check on somebody else's health care.
I want to ask, how is this different, if in any way? Because the Graham-Cassidy bill, maybe not in its current form, was something that was talked about the last time we had a health care vote, and it seemed like Republicans had largely gone in a different direction. Is it different from them, or is this, as has been reported, the last-ditch effort to repeal Obamacare?
This is, believe me, Obamacare is going to implode.
Yeah.
It's just falling apart. I always point out Moon Griffon, your host on your radio station, he says publicly he's paying over $40,000 a year for a premium with a special needs child. Now, by the way, does that protect somebody who has pre-existing condition when the family has to pay over $40,000 a year? By the way, Blue Cross Louisiana says they have to increase premiums another 20% this year. Moon will be paying $48,000 in premiums plus his deductible. Does that protect his daughter with a pre-existing condition? So Obamacare is going to implode. What we're trying to do is make it a soft landing and replace it with something that allows the state to do something that is helpful for those who need help, but also helpful for the taxpayer and help somebody like Moon Griffon.
Senator, I have to ask, let's take away the election that you won and the fact that you work in Washington now and put you right back in an office, right back in a hospital. What sort of a change have you seen either under Obamacare, and do you think that your bill, how would that kind of get it back to the way it was if that's where you're trying to go with it?
The current system since Obamacare passed rewards bureaucrats. It gives them the power to tell the patient and physician what they can and cannot do. And instead of looking in a patient's eyes to comfort her, to reassure her that, no, she has breast cancer, but there is hope and we can do something, the doctor is pecking away at a computer screen asking, have you stopped smoking? And increasingly the government stepping in between the patient and the doctor and taking power away from both. What I want to do is return it to the patient. If you return power to the patient, good things happen.
As we wrap up, we have Senator Bill Cassidy on the phone with us right now. You have kind of seen him all over the place as this Graham-Cassidy bill really kind of moves to the forefront, maybe a vote next week. It seems like we have increased conversation about single payer, especially from folks like Bernie Sanders. How do you see this as opposed to what you're proposing, the problems or even the positives, if you think there are any to this?
They're quite opposite. Single payer will raise taxes by trillions of dollars. It'll take away your employer-sponsored insurance. It'll put 100 million people on Medicare, and Medicare is going bankrupt in 17 years. It turns power over to politicians, and I worked in a system controlled by politicians. You don't want that. Whereas what we're trying to do gives power back to the patient, gives power to the state to find a solution that is good for that state. Alaska is different than Louisiana, which is different than Rhode Island. The solutions for those states should be different. It's two different visions of where we go.
All right, let me ask you this about, do you think you should call Jimmy Kimmel today? Is it worth a shot? I mean, and I'm being serious. I'm not joking. Is it worth a shot to call him and say, look, here's how we envision this working if passed?
You know, I've heard different things. Somebody, Lindsey Graham, said you ought to give him a call since he didn't call you. And someone else said it takes a lot of humility from someone on the left to defy the left. So maybe I will. All you can do is hope. All you can do is hope that when people know the truth, they will do the right thing, as opposed to hear one side of an argument that was deliberately skewed in order to influence and buy it hook, line, and sinker. But I'll think about that. Bernie, believe me, I'm always willing to reach out to other people if I think it can make things better.
All right,
okay.
Senator Bill Cassidy, thank you so much. Hey, be in touch with us. We're obviously in close contact with your office as things change back and forth, but it's always great to hear directly from the Cassidy and the Graham-Cassidy Bill, so we appreciate that today.
Hey, thank you both.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
appreciate it.
It's 6:30. You know,
It'd be interesting to see what